Just yesterday, Wizards of the Coast announced the new Spotlight series. Every day that I finish work, there's a Wizards announcement. Because I live in the UK, it comes through 9 AM their time, like 5 PM my time. It's really bad to do news coverage, because I don't want to work in the evening. I want to spend time with my wife and my kid. Anyway, less money about my life and more talking about the Spotlight series, which is essentially Grand Prix. The Spotlight series is Grand Prix with multiple asterisks, which I will cover in this video. So it's not quite the full-on, full-fledged return to Grand Prix that we'd perhaps have wanted if we could click our fingers and get exactly what we want. But my God, is it damn close. 8 new large convention-style tournaments coming to mainly North America. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But the point is, you can go to these events and compete on a high level without having to qualify first. They are large-scale tournaments open to everyone, and I think this is a fantastic thing for Magic. I mean it when I say this. The more I read and think about this announcement, the more I think that it is just a huge, huge positive boon for Magic. And I'm just really excited and happy to see Wizards doing this. All that and more in today's video. And if you're looking to pick up cards for your modern or standard decks ready for the next Spotlight Series event, you can find a link in the description below to coolstuffinc.com. Get 5% off your order and help support the show by the link and the code KENOBI at checkout when buying your stuff, and you get 5% off your order. As always, thanks to Cool Stuff Inc. for continuing to sponsor this channel. So the Spotlight Series, there's going to be 8 events in the first year, which is going to be 2025. The first one is in January in Atlanta. I think the next one is, God, I didn't write the date down. I think it's March in Utrecht, and the others are a little bit up in the air. There's going to be 5 in North America, 2 in Europe. The second one we don't know yet. I'm hoping it's London or Birmingham or Manchester or Leeds or something in the UK, and 1 in Japan. Now, this brings me to the first complaint, and to be honest, my complaints are minor. Most of it is just a positive, wholeheartedly loving what they're announcing. But honestly, it's almost a little bit of a meme. It's almost a little bit of a farce or a parody that they're doing in a way that so heavily supports North America compared to the rest of the world. The fact they didn't announce a single one in in Australia, only 1 in Asia, none for South America, it does kind of smack and stink of the continuing problem of Wizards of the Coast not looking to want to engage with people outside of primarily the English-speaking language. I know Utrecht isn't English as a primary language, but yeah, they're very much consigned to North America and a little bit of Europe for the most. But with that criticism out of the way, I guess I can unpack all the positives. These are going to be huge tournaments. The exact numbers of entrants we don't really know, but Huey Jensen, the leader of organised play for Wizards of the Coast, did mention in an interview with Channel Fireball today that they could be upwards of 2,000 people per event. Everybody entering will get a promo like the good old days of Grand Prix, and the top, I think it's 128, will get a foil version of that, which means there's also a little bit of an incentive to top 128 to get quite an expensive promo. These won't be the price of Secret Lair promos. Those have astronomical prices because they are much smaller in number. But if one of these promos is only for 1 event, let's say, then there's only going to be 2,000 of them in existence, only 128 of them foil, meaning they will demand a price if they're a premium card. There is a Terror of the Twin Peaks, and there is a Caldra Complete. The Terror is coming for the standard event in Atlanta in January, and the Caldra is coming for the modern event in March. That's right. Standard and modern announced so far. They haven't announced the others. They said each one will be themed. So, for example, the standard one is so themed that the first place prize will also get, on top of the money, which I'll come to in a moment, they'll get a case of every standard release for the year afterwards. And the prize is $50,000 for all qualifying players. I'm not 100% sure if it's just for top 8 or top 32 or top 64 where the cash tiers down to, but either way, $50,000 per event is pretty good. And on top of that, the really exciting bit, and the bit that I want to really labor as a good point, is that there is a invite to the next Pro Tour or a Pro Tour for each top 8 placement. That means you can, without having to qualify or grind out an entire season to get play points or RCQ qualifications for RCs or any of the other more complicated stuff they've done in the past and are currently doing, instead you can practice at home on Arena or Magic the Gathering Online or at your local store, and then you can head along to a GP, pay your entry, sorry, not GP, Spotlight Series, pay your entry and compete at a high level, and if you do well, if you spike the tournament, you are going to the Pro Tour. The reason I've been longing for GPs to come back or come back in some capacity, the Spotlight Series, is that the aspirational element of being able to just say, fuck it, I'm going to drive to wherever or fly to wherever this weekend and play in the event and just give it a go is huge to me. It was the thing that really got me entrenched in Magic alongside the local F&M scene back in the day when I regularly played down in Southampton. It was really fun at F&M to talk about how we're all going to be at the GP at the weekend, to room with people, to car share with people, to organise flights and accommodation accommodation with people. Of course, this stuff already still exists for Command Fest, a much more casual side of things, and MagicCon, which is a bit more full on and arguably just rather more expensive. To have something else that is akin to the Command Fest but at a competitive angle is fantastic. And I can't begin to explain how happy I am to see Wizards of the Coast proving that they have a commitment to making paper organized play work, even for the aspirational normies amongst us. Beyond that, the Grand Prix, which are in America being held by Star City Games, and different companies in Europe and Japan, they will be like the old Grand Prix in the sense that there won't just be one main event, there will be side events, which means you'll be able to go along and play drafts or sealed or even Commander. I'm pretty sure there'll be casual tables too. There'll be vendors. I assume there'll be special guest stuff as well, depending on what the organisers organise. The European organisers, if you want to reach out to me, I would love to attend both of them. We can talk, I can do a special event. I'd love to be there. I'm going to be there anyway, but I'd love to be there in a much more special capacity. What this means is that the Spotlight Series in essence is a smaller MagicCon with a focus on the main competitive event, the main event, which doesn't really exist outside of the Secret Lair showdowns that you get at MagicCons. There won't be a main stage like there is at a MagicCon for the most part, or at least I believe. So there won't be like a game where it's live and stage shows and stuff. There'll be less convention and more the classic Grand Prix experience, which is playing, hanging, buying, right? And I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to have multiples of these things. It also means there's just more larger events to get to. If you can't get to your MagicCon Barcelona's, Amsterdam's, Vegas, and similar, it means you've got more chance of getting to another one in your area. Although that's more an American thing. In Europe, we're still stuck with only 2. That brings me to my second criticism. It's talking about Secret Lair showdowns and Spotlight Series and Grand Prix and MagicCons. Without me making this video quite a lot longer than it needs to be by explaining every single thing as I say it, the naming conventions are rather confusing, honestly. It's a minor niggle, like why could they not have just used the original Grand Prix term, because it comes with so much already established ideas and conventions. I guess that's the problem, right? They don't want to use the established ideas and conventions. They want it to carve out its own niche. They want it, for example, to Spotlight, standard in Atlanta, modern in Utrecht. And on top of that, there are some other differences to the traditional GP system. There will be no Grand Prix trials, so you can't play a localized thing to get some buys for the event. There are no buys as far as I understand it, and there's no like referral of qualifications and stuff, depending on who's qualified in the top 8 and to get really into the weeds. Basically, they've removed a lot of the gumph and excess that was around the Grand Prix system that worked, but was also kind of confusing if we're honest. So to start from a fresh slate is good. The word Spotlight Series does lack a little bit of grandeur, a little bit of grandeur. Like, it's funny to say grandeur because the old ones were called Grand Prix. That was not planned in my notes. I just said that now and thought it was really funny. But it does sound like a smaller event. If anything, Spotlight Series sounds smaller than, say, the Secret Lair Showdown or the RCQ or the RC. And in reality, they're going to be bigger events than any of those. Also, I don't really like SS as a shorthand. GP, RC, Secret Lair Showdown, SLS? SS? I don't know. On top of all of that, though, to go back to a big positive, they've said there's going to be coverage. Coverage. Live, recorded, like commentators talking about the matches, and I love this stuff. I love being able to tune into a reasonably high production, or at least even medium production coverage of an event on the weekend, or catch up with it on the Monday when I sit down in my office. I love that stuff. The Pro Tour is testament to that. Last Modern Pro Tour was great to watch back after. Couldn't watch it at a time because I was there, not competing though because I'm a scrub. Coverage in the past has been an expensive thing, and when it went away, there's a big uproar and it sort of like just faded away. We did dice removal episodes on it. I did videos on here on it, asking, begging for them to support coverage because there is a cost to Wizards. Wizards normally subsidise. I'm not saying they are this time around, but they used to subsidise the coverage teams and the coverage costs because it's expensive to get staff on site to stream and record and with lights and cameras and so on and so on. They used to subsidise that, and they kind of got rid of it as a cost-cutting exercise that I never ever agreed with. I love the fact that in the post-pandemic, post-ruining of organised play world that we live in now, they're making some steps back towards the golden age, the coverage age. In many ways, we say this ironically, but it's true. It's like nature is healing. It's like magic is healing. William Jensen, Huey, said in the interview with LSV on the Channel Fireball side of things that Magic is going from strength to strength, and this is to enable to capitalise on that momentum or push that momentum forward, to paraphrase him there. And that, like, it didn't give me chills, but it gave me a really positive and warm vibe that Magic is thriving because it's bringing in all these new eyes through things like Universes Beyond and the large and arguably bloated release schedule. So for them to then say, you know what, there's things that we need to do to support the enfranchised fans or the ones who want to compete, from the mystery booster as an enfranchised fan love letter to the Magic Con and down to the showdown slot sort of like level These are all things that I think are huge positives. The addition of more events like this means that there might be more places to try and play Mystery Booster because they still haven't announced it coming to retail yet. So that's also a positive, albeit a positive built off the back of a fuck up from them, if I'm honest. I don't know what I'm titling or thumbing this video with at the moment because hugely positive videos just do not get the engagement. I've always got to come in with a slight snarky angle to get you motherfuckers to click. So I just want to end the video out by explaining that this is almost entirely a positive decision in my eyes. Even with the problems around the geographical choices and locations, you've got to, in some ways, cut them some slack because this is going to be a relatively expensive undertaking, especially if they're like subsidizing coverage and similar. So for them to go low key at the beginning with only 8 events and not committing exactly to how they will look for the rest of the year, only announcing the first 2 so far, I like that because they're doing it in a way that might be sustainable or growable for the future by starting off smaller. Hell, on the stream with Blake and Huey, the chat asked, could we get a Pauper one? And Blake said, unlikely, but never say never. There was no mention of Legacy or anything, but imagine if in 2026 we got a Legacy, what's it called? Spotlight Showdown. Almost said GP, almost said Secret Lair. A GP, not a GP, sorry. Jesus, I'm melting down trying to get the names right in my head. A Spotlight Series Legacy, because Legacy as a word is so loaded in terms of the legacy of the game too. Imagine that. Imagine just one in Europe, because the European ones always cap out as well. Imagine 2,000 people playing Legacy in Europe in a big hall in like Bologna or Utrecht or London. Oh, it gets me excited. And I'll end on this to give all of you looking for some criticisms a little bit of bait here. All of this is well and good, but they really need to fix fucking Modern and Legacy, right? Ban some shit and stop putting such egregious nonsense into it. Anyway, that's been the video giving you the lowdown on what's happening and how positive it makes me feel for the future of Magic. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.